It's crazy.
Eve is always the most interesting game you'll ever hear about that you're never going to play.
Yeah.
Hello, my friends. It's been a while, but I'm back and there's a lot to talk about. So, first and foremost, before we get started, Eve Ascension's coming next week. There's a ton of changes. I kind of want to just gloss over and have a quick chat about some of the things that I'm looking forward to, some of the things I'm kind of, I don't want to say worried, that sounds a little pretentious, but I just kind of wanted to have a chat, kind of throw this out there and bounce this off of people and kind of see what your feedback is. Behind you, the footage is a fleet. It's Team Venal versus Team Tenal. It's Protei, and Legions versus Heavy Missile Cerberuses. And you're probably thinking, wow, Dectorus, you're not really that great at your module management and paying attention to broadcasts and just in general being one of those F1 monkeys. And you're not wrong. Here's my defense. So, I have to fly links as well. So on another monitor, I've got another ship out in space with the D-scan window open, and I constantly have to mash that D-scan button to see if there are, probes on my short scan, or if an interceptor or a bomber is landing on me, and if I need to warp out. And the reason that I pay so much attention to that link alt, right, is because, believe it or not, that link alt is more important than my frontline DPS ship, right? So, if, let's say there's 100 people and my 1 out of 100 Legion dies, my fleet is at 99%, right? However, if my Loki links, my skirmish links die, my fleet goes down in effectiveness way faster. Way much more significance. Here's why, right? So, Loki links or skirmish links give you reduced signature, which when you're fighting heavy missile Cerberuses, that's like the biggest way to tank them is to be small and fast, right? Afterburning armor ships go pretty fast, 700 meters a second, and they have really small signatures because of the skirmish links. That's how you tank heavy missiles, right? Because heavy missiles have a problem applying things. Which brings me actually to the first thing that I'm quite happy about in Ascension, is that the links are changing. So now, instead of having to concentrate on a ship that's flying out in space aligned to some random celestial or gate or whatever, which is, by the way, super boring, non-emergent gameplay. Let's just throw that out there first and foremost. That's not fun. They're changing it to be on-grid, right? So a few days ago, my corp had a roam, and they flew Cinnables, right? Cinnables are an amazing roaming doctrine, and the reason why is because they warp fast, right? So one of the bonuses to that hull is that they get a warp speed bonus, right? So you can take, 20, 30, 40 jumps, and it doesn't feel like 20, 30, or 40 jumps, right? The only problem is that for fleets like that to work, you have to have Loki links, right? You have to have skirmish links. And so I was flying a scimitar that had a warp speed rig and a warp speed implant so it could keep up with Cinnables, but my links weren't, right? So the entire time we were roaming, all I was doing was chasing the fleet with a set of Loki links, and it was absolutely frustrating, especially when you actually did get to a fight. Well, guess what? Your links aren't set up. So even though you're fighting someone or something, right, you've got to wait for your links to jump into system, and you got to wait for your links to warp off to a planet halfway in between, the wherever you started from and your planet. You got to make a safe spot, then you got to turn around and warp back to that safe spot, and then align to something, and then turn your links on, right? That takes time. I mean, that can take like a minute or two. Meanwhile, your fleet doesn't have bonuses that whole time. So I'm super happy that mechanic, that change is coming. That I think has been way overdue. So I'm super pumped about that. Now, the other big kind of headline about Ascension is the fact that Eve is quote-unquote going free to play. Now, in the intro, I played a clip from one of my favorite podcasts. It's called the Roundtable Podcast. They broadcast it live on Twitch. It's a couple guys that pretty much full-time play video games, right? They're YouTube content creators, they're Twitch streamers, like, They literally make a living by playing video games, right? And they never talk about Eve, ever. They talk about every single video game under the sun, but they never talk about Eve. I mean, occasionally it'll come up, but it's never like, you know, delved into like as one of their major talking points, right? So when they finally talk about Eve, I was elated. I was so happy to hear, you know, their thoughts on it. And then subsequently just crushed again, because their whole view on Eve hits it right on the head. It's the most interesting game you're just never gonna play. And their biggest complaint was time, right? They're full-time video game players, and they don't have time to play a video game. Well, and it's true. I can completely sympathize. Eve will suck so much of your time. If you want to get good, if you want to be competitive, you have to have tons and tons of research under your belt. You have to know fits. You have to know strategies. You have to know how to do this, how to counter that. I get it. I completely understand. And their argument was that it doesn't really matter if it's free-to-play or, you know, a subscription-based, until they change the fact that it takes months and months and years to fly some of the ships that you have to fly. They just don't see it becoming a super popular game. I understand that, and while that's heartbreaking, that brought up another whole complaint that I have, and I shouldn't even really call it a complaint. I just don't really agree with the terminology of them saying that it's free to play. Right? Because for me, it's not going to be free to play. I'm still going to pay a subscription, because I'm not going to just, you know, shelve all these nice shiny ships that I've been flying over the years, right? I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not going to go from flying, you know, legions and you know, carriers and dreads and super carriers and whatever, and then just jump in a Vexor or a Caracal. It's just, that for me would not be fulfilling, especially knowing, you know, what I could be flying. So, and again, if you think about it as like an unlimited trial, I think it makes more sense. When one of my friends asked me, you know, what I thought about it, because he doesn't play. He played Eve for a little while, maybe like 3 years ago. He started mining, and then he never really. I tried to get him into the corp that I was in, and he didn't really want to do like the PvP aspect of Eve. He just kind of wanted to be in a safe little bubble, and he never could really break that mentality. He was, you know, like a Minecraft guy, so he never really got into Eve, but he always kind of followed it in the news, and when he heard that it was free to play, he asked me about it, and I said, well, here's the deal. This is how I feel it is. It would be like the newest Call of Duty coming out, and they unlock all the content for you. You don't have to pay for it. The whole thing's for free, but unless you pay for it, the only thing you get is a pistol and a knife. Right? So you can go into all the different multiplayer maps, you can do the whole campaign, everything for free with a pistol and a knife, or you can pay for it and get your machine guns, your assault rifles, your, you know, AC-130s, your claymores, whatever, right? And if you think about it that way, it's a little bit more, I think it's a little bit more accurate, because if you give someone that kind of gimped version of Eve, man, it would be fun, sure, if you can find friends and if you can find other people that are you know, learning the game that way. But really, what it all comes down to is us, the community. We're going to have to grab these people and teach them how to play and teach them why we love the game. And I think that is the biggest reason why this Eve free-to-play will succeed or fail. If we as a community can get these people interested and get them to feel like they're part of our family, then yeah, it will work. But we'll see. And at the end of the day, you know, hopefully we get some new blood in the game, because that's honestly what we need. Anyway, I love you guys. Sorry it's been so long since I've made a video. Hopefully we'll see all of you guys out in space, and hopefully a more populated space. Until then, we'll see you later.